Hey you guys, today we're going to make oobleck, which sounds really weird because it is kind of really weird. It is very messy, which is why I'm outside. I recommend you do this outside or maybe in your kitchen, someplace where it's easy to clean up, because this is a messy but fun activity, making oobleck. So in your kit, you should have a bag of powder. It's either going to look like this. If you're making it, if there's just one person in your family making oobleck, you'll have this. If there's two people in your family making oobleck, you'll have a bag like this. If there's three people in your family making oobleck, you'll have both of these, okay? Sorry, that's a little confusing. It's all the same stuff. It just is packaged a little bit differently. So you'll have a powder that has a bag of some sort that has cornstarch in it, a powder called cornstarch. You'll have a little container that has coloring in it, and you will have this strange looking utensil, which is a whisk. It's good for mixing things up. What you're going to need to get from your own house is your red bowl or your white bowl that you've used before. And you're also going to need a measuring cup, because you are going to need to measure out 1 cup of water. So in this bag is 2 cups of cornstarch. So that's this plus this. 2 of these is in here. And if you use 2 cups of cornstarch, you need to use 1 cup of water. Sorry, my dogs are making noise. They're eating strange things. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this up with water and show you what to do next. All right, I've got this filled up with 1 cup of water. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the coloring to it, which is, remember, in this little container. It's much easier to color your oobleck if your water is colored. If you mix the water in first with your powder, then it's kind of tricky to do. So I'm just going to drop that coloring in. You can see it maybe kind of swirling around there. And my next step is going to be to put my powder inside my bowl. So again, if you got one of these bags, you need to divide this bag in half. 1 for one kid and 1 for another kid. This is enough for 2 kids. If you're at home by yourself, you're gonna just have this bag and you're gonna use this whole bag. You can dump it in. So I'm putting, ooh, that went all over my computer. Careful when you dump it in. So I'm gonna go ahead and dump in my cornstarch. It is a very fine powder that's now all over my keyboard. That's okay. That's what happens when you are a preschool teacher. Okay. So I dumped all that in. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly add in the water, and I'm going to use this to stir it. And it's going to kind of turn into a weird substance. Let me put this in. I'm putting it all in. Who am I kidding? Okay. Let's see if I tip it this way. I don't know that you're really going to be able to see. It is a little bit hard to stir. As it mixes with the water, it turns into a very strange kind of hard substance. And that's because oobleck is what's called a non-Newtonian fluid. It's very weird. It's a very cool science experiment that when you apply pressure to oobleck, so when you do something fast or hard to it, to the substance that you're making, it's going to freeze and kind of turn into a solid. But then when you leave it alone, it gets all gooey and it turns into a liquid when it doesn't have pressure applied to it. So you're going to probably have to not only use the whisk, but also use your hands and mix it with your hands. Like I said, it is messy. I sent some extra videos to your grown-ups so that you can see some different things about oobleck. First, oobleck was in a story that was written by Dr. Seuss. So it's a very long book. It's a very cool story, but it's a long book. It's called Bartholomew and the Oobleck. And I sent 2 videos to you, your grown-ups. One is the long, full version, and one is the short version. And so you can read all about Dr. Seuss's idea about the oobleck and what if it started falling from the sky, which would be really weird. And then the other videos that I sent you were more science videos. One was what's the difference between a solid and a liquid, and so it explains a little bit about non-Newtonian fluids like Oobleck. It's more the science kind of issue of information about it, and that's going to be good for the older kids to watch probably. And then the other videos, can you see it's acting like a liquid, but if I squeeze it, it feels like a solid in my hand. Can you see it changes? The other videos that I sent you were just some crazy videos of people doing kind of showing different science with the Oobleck, where they would they filled essentially like a kiddie pool full of it, and they walked on it. When they walked on it, they were applying pressure and they wouldn't fall down into the Oobleck. But the second they stopped walking on it and they stood still, the Oobleck turned into a liquid and they sank. There was another one where they were putting it on a speaker that was vibrating super fast, and showing what happened to the Oobleck when they did that. Because again, it's a really unusual but cool substance that is fun to play with. It feels really interesting in your hands, and you should try and see what happens if you squeeze it, how it can feel like a solid, and then when you let go of it, it turns into this gooey mass that's more like a liquid. So I would love to see some videos of you guys and your Oobleck and whatever you think to do with it. The other kind of cool thing is, I think if you, I think if you punch it in the bowl, which I'm not going to be able to show you unfortunately, it's going to feel like you're hitting a solid, yep, and not a liquid. So my hand is not going through to the bottom. It's because it's applying pressure. It's getting stuck on the top, and then as soon as I'm done hitting it, it sinks, my hand is sinking to the bottom. So I want you guys to get a chance to play with this. I hope you guys have a lot of fun with Oobleck. It is very fun. It is messy, but it's also really easy to clean up. And I hope you enjoy all the different videos, the stories, and the science and everything that goes behind learning about Oobleck and this non-Newtonian substance. All right, you guys, I hope you have fun. Thanks.